Hi everyone, today we're really pleased to be able to show you a really lovely example of the sought after and possibly the best Suzuki GSX-R 1000. This is the K5 model, and I think it's widely recognised that the K5 and the K6 are considered amongst the best of the Gixxer 1000. And in fairness, one of the best litre sports bikes ever made. Now this particular bike is a 2005 05, but you will see that she's fitted with a private plate, J16 XER, obviously just paying homage to that Gixxer nickname, and that comes with the bike. It's been valued at somewhere between £300 and £400, that plate, but as I say, it's included in the asking price of the bike. And this bike's covered 18,600 miles, which by any standards on a modern sports bike is by no means high mileage. And when you see this bike, it's really quite difficult to comprehend that it's 12 years old. It still looks really fresh, really current, and frankly, compared to some of the sports bikes that actually followed it, it's absolutely tiny. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was considered to be one of the best litre bikes. So basically, off the production line, the K5 and the K6 developed somewhere between sort of 173 and 176 brake horsepower, depending on which review you read. And ultimately, the reason behind that is the K5 and the K6 weren't restricted by these pesky European Union emissions regulations. So it was a free-flowing bike, and as a result, supremely powerful, as I say, 175 horsepower, but with a dry weight of just 166 kilos. So it was considerably lighter, and remains obviously considerably lighter than the bikes that followed it, which is quite rare by today's standards, with the manufacturers are constantly trying to shave weight off of their bikes. And a lot of that was obviously based on the fact that exhausts had to get bigger and catalytic converters had to become more and more restrictive. So arguably it's one of the last sort of pure sports bikes, ferociously fast, certainly not a bike for an inexperienced rider, and although I've not had the pleasure of riding a K5 on the track, I have spoken to a few of my customers that have, and by all accounts it's an absolute weapon. So as I say, 18,600 miles with a full service history. One of the questions that may be asked of a bike of this age and mileage is, has it had the valve clearances done? The valve clearances were actually done at 10,000 miles, and our experience of Japanese bikes is, whilst it's important to check them, invariably they very rarely need adjusting or any of the shims changing. But these were done at 10, so everything's up to date in that respect. Just been serviced by ourselves as well. And I guess we ought to take you around the bike and just show you what she's got fitted. So firstly, you can see on the front there that we've got a tinted double bubble screen. Got a really nice Moto Graphics number board assembly on the nose cone, which I think really complements the bike quite well. And we'll obviously do some close-ups while we're taking you around the bike as well. I think one of the most striking things about this bike, which you probably notice straight away, is that the wheels have been painted white. Originally the K5s and the K6s would have come with black wheels, but I think those white wheels give it an even further sort of retro look, harking back to you know, the early S-Rads that often had white wheels. Been painted really well. Lots of nice thick paint and lacquer, and no sort of chips or scrapes or marks. You can also see that we've got front axle sliders, and the brake calipers have actually been upgraded. Obviously the K5s came with radial brake calipers, but these are Tokiko monoblocks from an L2 Gix 1000, so just a slightly lighter brake caliper, and arguably just a little bit more initial bite. So you've got these nitride coated upside down forks, which are of course fully adjustable. And as far as we can ascertain on the adjusters, there may have been a little bit of tweaking, but certainly nothing to damage those adjusters. You can see we've got some crash bungs, some white crash bungs on the bike as well. If we're being really picky, I mean, it's a 12-year-old bike, but obviously it's low mileage for those 12 years. But of course, being 12 years old, there is going to be the odd blemish. And as you can see, just on the leading edge of the fairing there's just a few little marks on the leading edge of the fairing. Now they will be attended to. Obviously we just wanted to get the video out there as quickly as possible. The bike's only been in stock for a few days. You can also see that we've got some carbon effect decals on the frame, and it's only on the upper edge, or the upper angle of the frame, so clearly not hiding any damage or stone chips to the frame or anything like that. We're more than confident about that. We've got frame plugs there as well, just to tidy the look of the bike up. No scrapes or scuffs or damage to the engine casings. Just give you a close-up of the tank as well. Really nice original paintwork. And as you can clearly see, we've got some stomp grip there, which may or may not be to your taste. Obviously it's clear, so we can see that there's no damage behind it, and obviously that can be taken off to the new owner's taste if it's not for them. So we're now on the left side of the bike. Again, just a couple of stone chips and marks on the leading edge of the fairing, but as much as we're advocates of immaculate bikes, I think we also have to be quite realistic that, you know, this is still probably one of the nicer example K5s or K6s that you'll find. So down here on the left hand side of the bike, you can see we've got a quick shifter, and that's connected to these Valtomoto rear sets, which are a really nice bit of kit. We've got carbon swing arm covers both sides, and a carbon rear hugger. Now while we were cleaning the bike, you'll be pleased to know that we actually removed the carbon hugger and the carbon swing arm covers, again just to double check for damage. Personally, I think they look absolutely fantastic, but of course they can sometimes be fitted to you know, to hide a multitude of sins. Pleased to say that that isn't the case on this. A couple of little marks on the left hand side of the swing arm, potentially caused by paddock stand use in the past, but certainly no damage, and we took photos while they were off as well, so we can show those to a potential new owner. But just have a look how clean that rear shock assembly is in there. As I say, for a 12-year-old bike, regardless of its mileage, I think that demonstrates how well this bike's been cared for. No signs of any corrosion or road crud in there at all. And then continuing on the left hand side of the bike, you can see we've got a gold DID chain and Renthal sprockets, again with some axle sliders there, and there's obviously been an upgrade there of black adjuster blocks and the chain adjuster bolts. Holding on that private number plate, we've got a tail tidy, and then we come back to the right hand side of the bike and that beautiful Akrapovic exhaust and the carbon hanger. And as you can see, we've got the carbon cover on the right hand side as well, and finishing off with that lovely painted white wheel and a wavy Galfa rear disc. So as you can see, pretty high spec bike. We've got a dyno printout from JHS Racing, 3 attempts, and because this bike's also fitted with a power commander, it's obviously been set up with the power commander and the Akrapovic exhaust. So just under 162 brake horsepower at the back wheel, which on a bike that, as I say, has a dry weight of just 166 kilos, means it's fair to say that it's a pretty rapid machine. We've only had the chance to do just a few local miles on the bike, but it's a real tool, that's for sure. Now finally, before we start her up, we have fitted a brand new set of Maxxis Supermax MAPS, and these are known to be grippier than the proverbial to a blanket, and so much so that they're actually used by Chris Walker at the Chris Walker Race School. So before any of you bombard me with comments about tyres, I appreciate there will always be some brand loyalty out there, and people like their Pirellis and their Bridgestones, etc. But these get fantastic reviews, and I have to say, if they're good enough for Chris Walker, they're good enough for us. Right, we'll just start her up for you. As you can see, we've got 2 keys there as well. Now we do just have to pull the clutch in to start, so if you'll just excuse the camera for a second. As you can see from the instrument panel there, the mileage is 18,646. Lovely low down growl from that Akrapovic exhaust. As you can see, we've currently got the baffle removed, but we do have the baffle. And actually quite rare by today's standards, we've actually got the original titanium exhaust, which is about 3 times the size of that Akrapovic, but I think that in itself is probably worth a few quid, as so many of them would have been ditched over the years. So we'll just give her a quick blip for you so you can hear that exhaust. It sounds so aggressive. Enough to scare the living daylights out of most people, and certainly sufficient to annoy your neighbours. So there we have it. Just to summarise, this is our 2005 05 Suzuki GSXR 1000 K5, 18,600 miles with a full service history, brand new tyres, a specification list that I won't repeat now, but it's got all the right bits in all the right places, plus a box of original parts as well. Probably one of the better examples of the K5 that you'll find in the country. So don't miss out on this one. Give us a call, and this bike is available at 5295. I hope you enjoyed the video.